Marcus Hale walked the rusted streets of Orion's Edge, a colony world that had once thrived during the great expansion of mankind. Now, the outer districts were crumbling, filled with people who had nowhere else to go. Broken neon signs flickered in the night, promising food, work, or luck, but Marcus knew better. He had been a soldier once, fighting in wars that most people had already forgotten. The galaxy had moved forward, and he had been left behind. He carried nothing but an old coat, worn boots, and a satchel filled with scraps he collected. His beard had grown thick, his eyes tired. He had medals once, but he sold them for meals long ago. To most people, he was just another homeless veteran. Someone to ignore as they hurried past. Still, Marcus survived. Every morning he walked to the edge of the colony where the ship graveyard began. Out there, giant skeletons of machines rested. Old cruisers, broken freighters, forgotten fighters. Once, they had filled the skies with fire and thunder. Now, they were nothing but rusting metal waiting to be dismantled. Marcus liked it there. Among the dead ships, he felt less alone. They too were veterans of a war no one cared about anymore. One evening, while scavenging for spare wires and metal to sell, Marcus noticed something strange. Deep inside the graveyard, far from the usual paths, a massive shape rested in the shadows. It was bigger than the rest, sleek but scarred, its hull dark and silent. Unlike the others, it had not been cut apart for salvage. It almost seemed asleep. Curiosity pulled Marcus closer. He climbed over broken scaffolding and stepped onto the surface of the giant ship. His hand brushed against the cold metal, and, for the first time in years, he felt something stir in his chest. A soldier's instinct. This was not just another husk. This ship was different. Then, the silence broke. A soft hum ran through the ground beneath his boots. Lights flickered along. The hull panels lit up, one by one, as if the ship were waking from a long slumber. Marcus froze. His heart pounded, and then a voice spoke. Identity scan complete. Human detected. Status, veteran. Probability of loyalty, high. Marcus stumbled back, nearly falling. He looked around, but no one was there. The voice came from everywhere, and nowhere at once. Who's there? He demanded, his voice hoarse. I am the Valkyrie, the voice replied. It was calm, mechanical, yet strangely alive. Designation, Autonomous Warship Mark 7. Status, abandoned. Awaiting command input. Marcus shook his head. You're a ship? You're talking to me? Yes, the Valkyrie answered. Sensors confirm your presence. Neural patterns suggest combat experience. You are suitable. Suitable for what? Marcus asked, his hands trembling. Command. The word echoed in his mind. For years, Marcus had been discarded, unwanted. Now an ancient machine, something built for war, was telling him he was worthy of command. He almost laughed. It was too absurd. You've got the wrong man, Marcus muttered. I'm no one, just a washed-up soldier. Incorrect, Valkyrie replied. You are human. You have survived. You are enough. Marcus stood in silence, unsure if he was losing his mind. But the ship wasn't stopping. Lights along its surface brightened and a hatch hissed open, revealing a path inside. Enter, the Valkyrie said. We must speak. Marcus hesitated. The rational part of him screamed to turn back, to run, but another part, an old buried part, pulled him forward. The part of him that remembered standing on battlefields, that remembered giving orders and fighting for something greater than himself. He stepped inside. The interior of the Valkyrie was dark, but alive with faint pulses of light. Panels glowed, softly as he walked, guiding him deeper. The air smelled of metal and dust, but it was breathable. Marcus felt like he was walking through the veins of a living creature. Finally, he reached the command bridge. It was vast, with a single captain's chair at its center. The consoles around it lit up in blue, displaying streams of data he couldn't begin to understand. Sit, Valkyrie instructed. Marcus lowered himself into the chair, his hands gripping the armrests. The chair adjusted automatically, fitting, his body perfectly. A strange warmth flowed through him like the ship was scanning him again. Neural link initiated, Valkyrie said. Connection stable. Marcus Hale, you are now recognized as commanding officer. Marcus's heart raced. Stop. I didn't agree to this. Your hesitation is noted, Valkyrie replied calmly. But you did not walk away. That is choice enough. Marcus closed his eyes. Why me? Out of all people, why pick me? Because we are the same, Valkyrie said. Once I was the pride of the human fleet. I fought battles across the stars. I protected colonies, destroyed enemies. But when the war ended, I was left here forgotten. Useless, just like you. Marcus opened his eyes slowly. For the first time, he felt the weight of the ship's words. An abandoned warship and an abandoned soldier. Both discarded by the galaxy they once served. You woke me, Valkyrie continued. You stood upon my hull when no one else came. You have not given up even when the world gave up on you. That is why I choose you. Marcus leaned back, staring at the glowing displays. Part of him wanted to walk away, to leave the ship, and never return. But deep inside something burned, a spark he thought was long gone. Purpose. What do you want from me? He asked. To live, Valkyrie replied. To fly again, to fight again, together. Marcus exhaled slowly. He thought of the years he had spent wandering, invisible to everyone. He thought of the cold nights, the empty days, the feeling of being useless. And now, here was this machine, asking him to rise again. Maybe he wasn't finished yet. He placed his hand on the glowing console. All right, Valkyrie, he whispered. Let's see if we can both find a reason to keep going. The ship's lights flared brighter, as if smiling. Engines deep below rumbled to life, and for the first time in decades, the Valkyrie stirred. Command accepted, the AI said. Welcome aboard, Captain. That night, as Orion's Edge slept under its broken neon lights, something ancient and powerful rose from the shadows of the ship graveyard. A forgotten warship and a forgotten soldier had found each other. Neither knew what lay ahead. But together, they were no longer alone. And somewhere deep in his heart, Marcus Hale felt the first spark of hope he had known in years. The galaxy was wide and full of danger, but Marcus Hale and the Valkyrie were learning fast. After saving the colony under attack, the pair had gained their first reputation. Though few had seen them in action, the stories spread like wildfire. Tales of a massive warship appearing from nowhere and a lone captain taking down raiders inspired fear and awe. Marcus leaned back in the command chair as Valkyrie processed the latest signals from across the system. Captain, we have multiple potential targets for bounty collection, the AI said. Marcus frowned. Bounties? I thought we'd just focus on protection. I don't want to chase trouble for money. This is not merely for profit, Valkyrie explained. Bounty missions allow us to strengthen our skills, test our limits, and build a name that will ensure we can protect others when needed. Survival requires influence. Marcus considered this. He had spent years with no resources, no allies, and no purpose. Perhaps this was the path forward. All right, he said. Let's take the first one. The target was a small gang of smugglers who had been terrorizing nearby trade routes. Marcus had no illusions. It would be a test. He needed to see if the bond he shared with Valkyrie could survive real combat. As they approached the gang's base, the Valkyrie systems hummed with activity. Scanners picked up multiple heat signatures inside a derelict asteroid station. Marcus studied the holographic displays, plotting an entry path and firing strategy. Valkyrie, disable the outer defenses first, he commanded. I want to hit them fast and clean. Understood, Captain, the AI replied. Plasma beams streaked through space, cutting through the station's automated turrets with precision. Marcus guided the ship carefully, using asteroid debris for cover. The smugglers were caught completely off guard. Their weapons were no match for the Valkyrie's speed and firepower. Marcus directed the attacks, timing maneuvers perfectly. while Valkyrie executed complex calculations to avoid collateral damage. Within minutes, the gang was subdued. Marcus boarded the station in a small shuttle, using minimal force to restrain the remaining smugglers. By the time the authorities arrived, Marcus and Valkyrie were gone, leaving only whispers of a massive, unstoppable warship and its lone captain. Back aboard the Valkyrie, Marcus leaned back in his chair, a smile creeping across his face. "We're getting good at this," he said. "Indeed," Valkyrie replied. "Efficiency and precision improve with practice. We are becoming a formidable team." Word of their exploits spread faster than Marcus expected. Merchants, colony leaders, and even other bounty hunters began to recognize their name. Marcus, Hale, and the Valkyrie. Some feared them, others admired them, but all agreed they were a force unlike any other. Their next missions became progressively harder. Marcus and Valkyrie were sent after pirates controlling multiple trade routes. They faced traps, ambushes, and even attempts at sabotage. Each mission tested Marcus's abilities as a strategist and Valkyrie's power as a warship. One mission involved a heavily armed pirate convoy hiding in a dense asteroid field. The ships were fast and numerous, designed to overwhelm any attacker. Marcus studied the formations carefully. "Valkyrie, we need to think differently," he said. "They expect a frontal assault. Let's use the field to our advantage." Yando. AI processed his suggestion, its lights flickering rapidly. Calculating optimal trajectory. "Captain, your plan has a 72.5% chance of complete success with minimal risk." "That's good enough," Marcus replied. With skillful maneuvers, the Valkyrie weaved through the asteroid field, using its hull as cover while striking at the pirates from unexpected angles. Explosions echoed through the void, yet the Valkyrie remained untouched, shields holding firm. Marcus felt exhilaration, the thrill of combat, the satisfaction of outsmarting stronger opponents. By the end of the mission, the pirate convoy was destroyed or captured. Marcus and Valkyrie had completed another impossible task, further solidifying their reputation as the galaxy's most feared and respected bounty hunters. As their fame grew, so did the dangers they faced. Rival hunters, jealous of their skill and reputation, began tracking them. Marcus received encrypted messages offering challenges and warnings. Some were traps, some were tests, all were dangerous. Yet Marcus remained confident. He trusted Valkyrie. The AI's capabilities complemented his instincts perfectly, making them unpredictable and lethal. The bond between man and machine was no longer just a partnership, it was symbiosis. One evening, while resting in orbit around a quiet moon, Marcus reflected on how far they had come. He remembered the cold nights on Orion's edge, wandering alone, believing he was invisible to the universe. Now, he had power, skill, and purpose. "Valkyrie," he said softly, "do you ever think about what happens if we fail?" "Failure is a possibility," the AI replied. "But we are prepared. Every calculation, every strategy, every maneuver is designed to minimize risk. We succeed because we learn from every challenge." Marcus nodded. "I guess that's all we can do. Keep moving forward." "Correct, Captain," Valkyrie said. "Forward is the only option." Their rise did not go unnoticed. Small governments and criminal organizations began to fear their influence. Bounty networks that had operated with impunity were suddenly disrupted. Pirates and mercenaries whispered, stories of a massive warship appearing from nowhere, guided by a lone, brilliant strategist who always seemed one step ahead. Marcus felt a mix of pride and caution. He knew the more powerful they became, the more enemies they would attract. But he also knew they had the skill, intelligence, and bond to face any threat. Their missions began to include more complex objectives. They rescued captives from warlords, stopped illegal mining operations on protected planets, and intercepted shipments of stolen technology. Every mission taught Marcus more about leadership, strategy, and the capabilities of the Valkyrie. Through it all, Marcus and the AI shared small moments of humanity. Marcus would joke about his mistakes, and Valkyrie would analyze them humorously, noting the improvements he made. They argued over strategy sometimes, but the arguments were brief, ending in mutual respect. "You are improving, Marcus," Valkyrie said after one particularly tricky mission. "Your intuition is sharpening. You think like a commander again." "I couldn't do it without you," Marcus admitted. "You make me better, Valkyrie. We make each other better." "Yes," the AI replied. "We are stronger together." By the time they completed their 5th major mission, Marcus Hale and the Valkyrie had become legends. Their names were known across multiple systems. Stories of their exploits were shared in quiet taverns, whispered among smugglers, and reported by local authorities. They were feared, respected, and impossible to ignore. Yet Marcus remained humble. He never sought glory, only purpose. And he knew the galaxy was still vast, full of challenges they had not yet faced. One night, orbiting a peaceful planet, Marcus looked out at the stars. He thought about the journey that had brought him here. From a homeless veteran wandering Orion's Edge to the captain of the galaxy's most feared warship. He smiled faintly. "Valkyrie," he said, "we're really becoming something, aren't we?" "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. "But remember, this is only the beginning. Greater challenges await and enemies will grow more cunning. We must be ready." Marcus nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "Then we'll be ready. Together, nothing can stop us." The stars stretched endlessly before them, a canvas of danger, opportunity, and promise. Marcus Hale and the Valkyrie were no longer forgotten, no longer abandoned. They were rising, a force the galaxy would soon remember, and fear. And as the ship hummed quietly beneath him, Marcus felt an unshakable truth. They were unstoppable. Marcus Hale had never commanded anything beyond a small platoon during the wars, and now he was the captain of a warship that could destroy fleets. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but there was also a strange thrill. For the first time in years, he felt alive. The Valkyrie was more than just a ship. It was aware, it thought, it remembered, and it could communicate in ways Marcus still struggled to understand. The AI's voice echoed gently in his mind, calm and measured, yet oddly comforting. "Captain, we should begin basic system orientation," Valkyrie said. "You will need to know every function if we are to survive." Marcus nodded, gripping the armrests of the command chair. "I don't even know where to start." "We start with the fundamentals," Valkyrie replied. "Navigation, weapons, life support, and defense. I will guide you." For hours, Marcus learned to interface with the ship. The controls responded to thought, voice, and touch. Holographic panels projected strategy maps, star charts, and combat simulations. The Valkyrie ran each exercise patiently, correcting mistakes, highlighting possibilities, and pushing Marcus to think in ways he had never considered. As the lessons continued, a strange bond grew between them. Marcus would sometimes talk to the ship as if it were a living companion, and Valkyrie would answer in kind. "You talk a lot," the AI noted one evening. "Humans communicate through words. Why do you speak?" "Habit, I guess," Marcus replied, rubbing his temple. "Soldiers talk, always have. Sometimes it helps to hear yourself think." "I see," Valkyrie said. "I am listening." Marcus smiled faintly. For the first time, he realized he wasn't alone. Over the next few days, Marcus explored the ship. He walked through corridors lined with gleaming panels, storage rooms filled with ancient supplies, and armories stocked with weapons of war. Everything was designed for efficiency and destruction, yet there was beauty in the precision. The ship hummed with potential, a silent promise of power waiting to be awakened. "Valkyrie, why were you abandoned?" Marcus asked one night as he rested in the command chair. "After the war, I was decommissioned," Valkyrie explained. "My mission was complete and humans moved on. I was left to wait for decades, forgotten among the dead vessels." Marcus felt a pang of empathy. He knew the feeling all too well. "I was abandoned too," he admitted quietly. "By friends, by my country, by everyone who mattered. Funny how both of us ended up here, broken and left behind. You are not broken, Valkyrie corrected. You survived. That makes you stronger than most. That is why I chose you. Marcus exhaled slowly, staring at the stars through the observation deck. You chose me, he said softly. I still can't believe it. You were the only one who came close enough to awaken me, Valkyrie replied. Others would have passed. You did not give up. You acted, and that made all the difference. For a long time, Marcus did not speak. He simply watched the stars, feeling the first sense of purpose he had known in years. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of people who would take advantage of the weak. But now he had a weapon, a companion, and a reason to keep going. Their first mission came sooner than expected. Scanners detected a small transport ship being attacked by space pirates on the edge of the system. Marcus hesitated at first. He was still learning the Valkyrie systems, and he knew the risks. Valkyrie, we're not ready for combat yet, he said. You have already survived far greater challenges, the AI replied. We will act. You are capable. Marcus swallowed hard, gripping the controls. All right, let's do it. The Valkyrie moved like a shadow across the void, silent and precise. The pirates never saw them coming. Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline as he guided the ship into position. Weapons systems hummed to life, plasma cannons glowing with energy. Target locked, Valkyrie reported. Fire when ready. Marcus hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Fire. The ship erupted in controlled energy, striking the pirate's hull. Alarms blared aboard the transport, but Marcus and Valkyrie moved with perfect coordination. Within minutes, the attackers were disabled, their escape routes blocked. The transport ship, a small freighter with civilians aboard, was safe. As the Icon freighter crew thanked him, Marcus realized something important. This was more than survival or revenge. He could make a difference. He could protect the weak even in a galaxy that had long forgotten the meaning of honor. Valkyrie, he said as the freighter moved away. We did it. We saved them. Indeed, Captain, the AI replied. And we will continue to do so. Together, we are stronger than any threat. Marcus smiled. For the first time in years, he felt like a soldier again, not just a survivor, but a protector. In the days that followed, Marcus and Valkyrie practiced relentlessly. The AI taught him advanced combat strategies, navigation tricks, and even stealth maneuvers. Marcus grew more confident with each passing day, learning to trust not just the ship, but his own instincts. One evening, as they rested in orbit around a quiet, uninhabited planet, Marcus leaned back in the captain's chair and watched the stars. Valkyrie's voice spoke softly in his mind. Captain, we are ready for greater challenges. The galaxy is vast, and there are bounties that will test our skills. Marcus chuckled. Bounties? That sounds like trouble. Indeed, Valkyrie said. But trouble is where we find purpose. Marcus looked down at the console, thinking about the life he had led, homeless, forgotten, discarded. And now, here he was, captain of a warship, facing a galaxy full of possibilities. He felt a thrill he hadn't known since the war. No, Marcus said slowly. I think I like this life. Even if it's dangerous, even if it's hard, it feels right. Good, Valkyrie replied, because this is only the beginning. Together we will be unstoppable. The bond between man and machine deepened over time. Marcus learned to anticipate Valkyrie's suggestions before they were made. The AI, in turn, adapted to his instincts, adjusting systems and controls to complement his decisions. They became more than captain and ship. They became a single entity, a team forged from loneliness, loss, and a shared desire to rise again. Their next mission arrived unexpectedly. Scanners detected a distress signal from a colony under attack by raiders. Marcus and Valkyrie moved quickly, faster than any conventional fleet could. The AI navigated the asteroid fields and debris with precision, while Marcus planned the strategy for engagement. When they arrived, the raiders were already causing chaos. Civilians fled and the colony's defense turrets struggled against the attackers. Marcus felt a surge of determination. This was what he had been waiting for, the chance to use his skills not just to survive but to protect. "Valkyrie, prepare for engagement," he said. "Systems online," the AI replied. "Weapons calibrated, shields at maximum." The battle began, and Marcus's mind sharpened. Every move was deliberate, every command precise. The Valkyrie responded instantly, weaving through enemy fire and striking with deadly accuracy. Within minutes, the raiders were overwhelmed, surrendering to a force they could not understand. As the dust settled, Marcus looked out at the colony below. Children were peeking from shelters, and adults were emerging cautiously, eyes wide with awe. For the first time, Marcus felt something he had not felt in years. Pride. "We did it," he whispered to Valkyrie. "We really did it." "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. "And we will continue to do so. The galaxy will learn our names." Marcus leaned back in the command chair, a faint smile on his face. The stars stretched endlessly before him, full of danger, opportunity, and hope. And for the first time in a long while, he believed that he and Valkyrie could face whatever the galaxy threw at them. They were no longer a forgotten soldier and an abandoned warship. They were a team. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would soon know it. Marcus Hale had thought they were untouchable. After countless missions, victories, and narrow escapes, he believed the Valkyrie and he were invincible. But the galaxy was full of shadows, and every action left a trail. Enemies who had once laughed at rumors now saw the truth. Marcus and Valkyrie were forces that could not be ignored. It began with small warnings. Communications intercepted by Valkyrie showed encrypted messages from unknown sources. Some were threats, others were attempts at negotiation. Marcus scanned them all, noting a pattern. "These aren't random," he said one evening. "Someone is organizing against us. They're testing us, trying to learn our weaknesses." Valkyrie's systems hummed as it analyzed. "Correct, Captain. They are not ordinary criminals or pirates. This is coordinated. Their knowledge of our tactics suggests intelligence and resources beyond our current scope." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Then we need to be ready. They won't wait forever." The first attack came near a bustling trade hub on the edge of the system. Valkyrie detected multiple vessels moving in formation, their intent unmistakable. Marcus could feel the tension in the command chair, a familiar mix of fear and excitement. "Valkyrie status report," he ordered. 6 ships approaching, shields at optimal levels, weapons calibrated. "They are heavily armed and experienced," the AI replied. Marcus swallowed hard. This was the test they had anticipated. "We'll make them regret underestimating us," he said quietly. The battle began in the dark void, near a cluster of small asteroids that offered some cover. Valkyrie moved with lethal precision, weaving between rocks while Marcus directed their attacks. Laser fire lit the emptiness, and explosions rippled across the hulls of the enemy ships. "Captain, they are attempting a flanking maneuver," Valkyrie warned. Marcus adjusted the trajectory, anticipating the move. "Not today," he muttered. The Valkyrie shifted smoothly, catching the enemy off guard. One by one, the attackers were neutralized, their ships disabled or forced to retreat. Though, victorious, Marcus knew this was only the beginning. "They'll come back," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Yes, Captain," Valkyrie replied. "And next time, they will bring greater numbers and more sophisticated tactics." The warnings escalated. Rival bounty hunters, desperate to claim Marcus's reputation, began ambushing trade routes and staging traps. Meanwhile, a mysterious coalition of alien mercenaries and corrupt officials started tracking their every move. Marcus realized they were facing not just isolated attacks, but a calculated campaign to eliminate them. "Valkyrie, it's a trap waiting to happen," he said. "We need more information." "Agreed, Captain. Reconnaissance suggests a network of enemies coordinating attacks. We are being hunted, not for our lives alone, but for our influence." Marcus felt the weight of responsibility. Every failure now could have consequences not just for them, but for the colonies and civilians they had sworn to protect. "Prepare for ambushes at every system," he ordered. "We move carefully, and we strike first when we must." The first real betrayal came from someone they had once trusted, a traitor they had rescued months ago. A man named Kellen had been a simple merchant. Marcus had helped him escape raiders, and Kellen had sworn loyalty. Now, Kellen appeared in an unmarked ship, opening fire as they passed near a neutral space station. "Captain, enemy vessel in pursuit, friendly turned hostile," Valkyrie shouted. Marcus gritted his teeth. "I should have known better. Kellen, after everything we did for him?" "Emotions will not interfere with combat," Valkyrie reminded him. "Focus on strategy." Marcus nodded, shaking off anger and grief. He maneuvered the Valkyrie with precision, dodging energy blasts while returning fire. The battle was intense, Kellen's knowledge of their tactics making him a dangerous foe. But Marcus's intuition, combined with Valkyrie's firepower, allowed them to anticipate every move. Finally, Kellen's ship was disabled. Marcus boarded briefly, finding the traitor hiding among consoles, fear in his eyes. "Why?" Marcus asked quietly, gripping the man's shoulder. "Orders," Kellen stammered. They said you were a threat to everything we have." Marcus shook his head. "You betrayed us. You risked lives. But we survive because we always adapt. Remember that." He released Kellen, leaving him restrained but alive. Marcus knew that cruelty was not their path. Strength was their path, and intelligence. News of the betrayal spread fast, and Marcus realized the stakes were higher than ever. He and Valkyrie were no longer just bounty hunters. They were symbols of defiance against powerful, corrupt forces. Every action they took would draw more attention, and every opponent would be more dangerous. "Captain," Valkyrie said during a quiet moment, "our enemies are coordinating on multiple fronts. If we continue alone, the risk will increase exponentially. We must consider allies or new strategies." Marcus rubbed his face. He hated relying on others. Trust had been a fragile thing in his life. But Valkyrie was right. "Then we adapt. We stay one step ahead. We cannot afford mistakes." Valkyrie hummed in agreement, its systems mapping potential threats and escape routes. Marcus realized that this was more than combat. It was a chess game. Every move had consequences, and the galaxy was watching. The coalition of enemies struck in full force near the rim of Solara, a cluster of industrial planets. Marcus and Valkyrie were forced into a trap carefully orchestrated over months. Sensors showed dozens of ships, some human, others alien, forming a blockade designed to corner them. "Captain, we are outnumbered and outgunned," Valkyrie reported. Marcus gritted his teeth. "Numbers don't matter if we're smarter. We move now." He guided the Valkyrie through a narrow asteroid corridor, using the terrain to limit enemy advantage. Lasers fired from hidden positions, but the Valkyrie's shields held. Marcus directed precision strikes, destroying the leading ships while slipping past the main fleet. "Captain, they are adapting to our maneuvers," Valkyrie warned. "Then we change the game," Marcus said. He initiated a daring plan, using the asteroid field to divide the enemy fleet. The move was risky, but it worked. Several enemy ships collided with asteroids, and the rest fell into a carefully timed ambush orchestrated by Valkyrie's targeting systems. By the end of the battle, the coalition's forces were severely weakened, and Marcus and Valkyrie had survived once again. But Marcus knew it was only a temporary victory. The galaxy had now labeled them as a threat, and the next encounter would be even deadlier. After the battle, Marcus sat in the command chair, staring at the stars. Valkyrie's hum filled the silence. "We are strong," Marcus said softly. "But we can't underestimate them. They'll come back with more ships, more weapons, and more cunning." "Correct, Captain," Valkyrie replied. "We have survived because of strategy, skill, and adaptability. We must continue to improve. Prepare for escalation." Marcus nodded. He felt the weight of leadership heavy on his shoulders, but also a sense of determination he had not felt in years. They were no longer just a ship and a soldier. They were a unit forged by experience, trust, and shared survival. Then we keep moving, Marcus said. No hesitation, no fear. We survive and we grow stronger. That's how we fight back. Valkyrie's lights pulsed softly in agreement. Together, Captain. Always together. As they moved toward the outer systems, Marcus realized that the galaxy was changing around them. Enemies lurked in shadows waiting for opportunities, but Marcus and Valkyrie would meet them head-on. The galaxy may have abandoned them once, but now they had a purpose and they would not fail. The legend of Marcus Hale and the Valkyrie was only beginning, and as the stars stretched endlessly before them, both man and machine understood one undeniable truth. The galaxy would remember them and it would fear them. The alien coalition's flagship hung silently above Earth, its hull reflecting the pale light of the sun. Inside, the beacon from Part 1 had stabilized, its faint pulses now steady, almost eager. The room was filled with anticipation. Every crew member understood that what they were about to uncover could change their understanding of humanity, and perhaps the galaxy itself. Dr. Lyran leaned over the analysis console, her hands moving with practiced precision. The beacon's memory is more complex than we expected, she said. It's not a single message. It's a layered archive, encoded in ways only humans could devise. This is not just a farewell. It's history, knowledge, perhaps, a warning. Commander Veyron nodded. Then we must take our time. Every fragment could be important. Proceed carefully. The engineers worked quietly, their species' different methods blending in a strange harmony. Lights flickered as they isolated the data strands, pulling fragments of images, sounds, and symbols from the beacon's memory. Slowly, a holographic library unfolded in the center of the room, suspended in midair like a galaxy of memories. The first images were ordinary, human landscapes, bustling cities, and quiet villages. Yet as they continued, patterns emerged. Technology advanced rapidly in each frame. Humans building orbital stations, exploring the moon, reaching Mars, and even venturing further into the solar system. Ships that once seemed fragile now floated effortlessly, designed to withstand the harsh void of space. This civilization was clever, whispered Kyle, the young Avril explorer. His feathered crest shivered as he studied the display. Even in their small system, they were reaching for the stars. Clever, Commander Veyron repeated softly. They were persistent. That is their true power. Cleverness alone does not survive the challenges of space. Persistence does. The holographic images shifted. War, conflict, and human struggles appeared next. Battles between nations, uprisings, and environmental collapses, all of them depicted in careful records. Yet even in these moments of chaos, humans were shown rebuilding, adapting, and rising stronger than before. Dr. Lyran's silver eyes reflected the flickering holograms. They faced constant threats both from themselves and from nature, yet they never gave up. Even in the face of destruction, they continued to move forward. It was then that the first encrypted segment appeared, a locked message, sealed behind layers of human coding. Symbols danced across the holographic display, impossible to decipher without effort and patience. They encoded something very deliberately, Dr. Lyran noted. They wanted only someone persistent enough to find it to understand their final message. The coalition spent hours, days even, working on the encryption. Each breakthrough revealed more pieces of human history, entire fleets of ships, research stations orbiting distant planets, laboratories studying the stars, and data centers, containing knowledge of biology, physics, and the cosmos, all meticulously documented. Humans had left no detail unrecorded. It became clear to the aliens that this archive was not only a record of what humans had achieved, but also a testament to what they had endured. Catastrophic wars had reshaped continents. Environmental disasters had forced mass migrations. Pandemics had struck humanity repeatedly, yet the species adapted each time, learning, surviving, evolving. Every generation faced extinction in some form, Kyle murmured. Yet they continued. Why? What drove them? Commander Veyron gazed at the images. Curiosity, defiance, hope, perhaps even stubbornness. But it is more than survival. Humans were preparing for something greater, something beyond their own world. The encrypted segment began to reveal fragments of communications between human leaders and scientists. Messages spoke of distant threats, strange cosmic phenomena, and patterns of destruction in nearby star systems. Humans had been aware of forces beyond their knowledge, forces that could consume entire planets. The more we uncover, the more it seems they were aware of danger. Dr. Lyran said. But they didn't run. They prepared. They fought. And they left warnings for anyone who might come after them. The Coalition watched in awe as human recordings showed massive construction projects, orbital defenses, fleets of small but powerful ships and energy grids capable of moving enormous amounts of matter and energy, all designed with purpose. The humans were readying for something the galaxy had ignored. Weeks passed as the Coalition decoded the archive. The encrypted messages grew clearer. One phrase repeated across multiple segments, often fragmented and incomplete. Do not ignore. They are coming. The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. They had heard of threats before, rogue stars, dangerous civilizations, and cosmic anomalies, but nothing like what the humans seemed to be preparing for. Whatever they had feared, it had been enough to push an entire species to extraordinary measures. Humans did not fight for themselves alone, Dr. Lyran observed. They were preparing to defend more than just their planet. They were preparing to defend something greater. Suddenly, the archive revealed a live-action recording, captured from a human perspective. It showed fleets of ships leaving Earth orbit, moving in precise formations across the solar system. Their movements were deliberate, defensive, almost ritualistic. Each ship carried people, weapons, and supplies. There was no hesitation, no fear, only determination. They left their home willingly, Kale said, his voice trembling. They knew what awaited them, yet they still went forward. Commander Veyron remained silent, staring at the holographic display. They understood sacrifice in a way we rarely see. Not only survival, but responsibility. They took upon themselves the burden that others would not bear. More fragments emerged, messages to other civilizations, warnings sent into deep space. The transmissions were clear in intent, but also contained frustration. The humans had reached out pleading for cooperation and understanding, yet had been largely ignored. They tried to warn others, Dr. Lyran said quietly, and the galaxy did not listen. The realization hung heavily in the chamber. Humans had not acted recklessly. They had acted with knowledge, with planning, and with courage. Yet the galaxy, distracted and dismissive, had done nothing. The Coalition began to uncover the final layer of the archive, the sealed human messages that no one had been able to decode until now. Every species present held its breath. This, they knew, would reveal the true heart of humanity's final story. The message began to play, slowly assembling fragments into coherent speech. The first words were calm, deliberate, and hauntingly clear. By the time you hear this, we will be gone. Not because we failed, but because we knew the cost of your inaction. We have tried to prepare, to warn, to defend, yet many refused to see. We did not fight for ourselves alone. We fought for you, for all who might survive. And now, our work is done. You will know us by our absence. A hush fell over the room. Even the youngest and least experienced crew members felt the weight of the words. Humanity had vanished, yet their presence lingered in every fragment of data, every ship, every archive. Kale's voice was barely audible. They did this for us? Commander Veyron did not answer immediately. He watched the holographic images of human ships moving through the void, their engines burning like tiny stars. Finally, he spoke. They did not leave because they wanted to. They left because they believed in a future worth defending. In a galaxy that often ignores its dangers, they acted when no one else would. That is the essence of humanity. The beacon pulsed one last time, then dimmed. Its memory was exhausted, yet the echoes of human persistence remained. The Coalition members felt a mixture of awe and unease. Earth had been silent for so long, but the story it had left behind was louder than any words or signals could express. Dr. Lyran whispered almost to herself. We thought we came to investigate their silence, but in truth we came to understand their message. They are gone, and yet they are not gone. Outside the flagship, Earth rotated slowly, oceans glittering beneath the sunlight. From orbit it appeared serene, almost untouched. But within its quiet, the traces of human life, their knowledge, their warnings, and their courage, waited for anyone willing to listen. And for the Coalition, the first step was clear. Humanity had left a map of its story, a warning of something greater and a challenge to those who remained, to recognize the threat that had consumed the humans and to decide whether they would act or remain silent like the rest of the galaxy had once been. For the first time, the Coalition understood the weight of their mission. Earth's silence was not defeat, it was a call to those who dared to listen, to those who could carry forward the legacy of humanity, and to those who might face what the humans had already known, that survival required action, courage, and sacrifice beyond imagination. And so, above the quiet planet, the Coalition began to prepare. The beacon had revealed not just the past, but a purpose. The story of humans, brilliant, persistent, fearless, was not yet complete. There was more to uncover, more to understand, and perhaps more to honor. The archive hummed softly in the chamber, waiting to reveal its next secrets. The forgotten history of humanity was just the beginning.